All right, welcome back, everyone. We're going to talk about Queenslayer, Book 5 in the Spellslinger series by Sebastien de Castell. Let's go ahead and get started on these. I'm going to try to keep this one a little short because I'm going to do 6 next, and it's kind of it's a series conclusion, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that one. Positives. I did really like that we got to explore. I've kind of said this in a few other reviews of the series. I think Sebastien does a good job of exploring new cultures in his book. Like, each book kind of has its own area it takes place in, and that culture has things that are explored. And Kellen's an outsider walking in, so we kind of get to see some of those things from an outsider perspective, and I think that's always really interesting. Going into some spoilers and stuff like that, I think one of the best scenes in the book, and the one that made me the most, it gave me the most emotional, like, reactive response, which was the white binder scene. Kellen basically gets kind of put into a trapped position, and this white binder takes control of his body through his shadow black. It's pretty. I mean, the white binder basically almost makes him rape a girl, and it's pretty, like, disgusting. As the scene goes, like, it made me, like, very uncomfortable, which is good when you can get an emotional reaction like that. But I think the reason that it was so terrifying and great is, one, the situation in general, because that's, pretty messed up. But we're also getting to see Kellen. We're in Kellen's head, so we get to hear all of his thoughts, and his thoughts are very much like even though he's not the one in control of his body and he's not the one really doing this, he still blames himself for this event. And I think that's interesting. And, like, just the scene itself, like, his thoughts are just, like, going off the rails, because he does not, this is not who he is, and it kind of destroys part of his self-image. I think that the ending was one of the things that I kind of stood out to me as different from a lot of the other books in the series. Normally at the end of a book in this series, I've noticed, Kellen is kind of basically on his own, and this book ends with him kind of having a place in the Darman Empire's court. And so he has somewhere where he actually kind of, like, fits in a way that, like, he's never really had before. And I like that, because one great thing about, like, writing is watching these characters change and grow and develop into new develop new things, and watching their journey as they change. And I think this is interesting, and I'm interested to see where that goes. Some critiques of this. So I don't like how they don't really how Sebastien doesn't really explain how the Queen's powers works, because she's supposed to be like an 11, 12-year-old girl, but she's supposedly, the, like, myth behind her is that she's connected to the entire line of kings or monarchs throughout the ages, and so she has the wisdom of all of them, but she's 12. And it's never really explained if she does or doesn't, but obviously there's a lot of parts throughout the book where it's really hinted that she has access to knowledge beyond her capacity, including being able to talk to Rikus, but also just other things she says, and just other, the things she does is way beyond the capacities of a 12-year-old girl. And it's not explained in this book, and I'm wondering if it's connected to her shadow black that she reveals at the end. because that'd be kind of interesting. And we know that there's a lot of different like powers that are involved with that. So I don't know, but I'm interested to see in the next book. Yeah, other one. So I'm really sick and tired of there always being a new girl Kellen falls for in a book. Like every single book has a this is the girl character he's going to fall for. And then it always ends up not working out in for some reason or another, or they get close but then he decides not to, or in the case of the last book and this book, she dies. So, yeah. And I think that's just it's more annoying to me than anything else. It's just like we don't need this constant romantic subplot going on with all these different women for him. I wouldn't mind it here or there, but it's literally every single book, and it's kind of annoying me by this point. Overall, I think the relationship between them isn't bad. I think it's actually one of the better explored romantic subplots in the book. Her death in the end is actually kind of tragic, and it does hit a little bit, but I think it'd be more effective if this wasn't just a one-off thing. If it wasn't just okay, she's here for this book, and now she's dead. And I'm not really sure on her betrayal at the end. When I feel like she'd be politically savvy enough, just from the entirety of the book, that she would see the writing on the wall and she would know Kellen enough by this point that's like, okay, let's just go ahead and let me just, instead of being the monarch, let me just take my place beside the monarch and have like a cushy position that does not put me in immediate danger. Because I don't feel like it was ever really expressed that thoroughly. It was towards the end a little bit, but it never felt to me like she really wanted to be the monarch at all. She just kind of wanted to be in a better position so that she wasn't constantly hounded by suitors and stuff, which she would have had if she wouldn't have betrayed the queen, because she would have had Kellen. And she would be safe because he's protected as a tutor, so she would likely be easily protected by him. So I'm gonna hold off on giving like a full. I'm not gonna do like a full recommended thing here. I think this series is decent. I don't think it's gonna. The ending is really gonna make or break it, as a lot of endings do. I'm kind of waiting to see how book 6 ends up panning out, but I'm guessing more of on like a all right, more positive than negative, but we'll see. We'll see how it ends. So that's going to be it for this one. If you did like the video, please leave a like down below. If you've read the book, this book's really recent. 2019, I think, is when this book got published. But if you have read it, go ahead and leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let's talk about it a little bit. And I really appreciate everyone who watches. Thank you very much.